What up, my freaks? RuinusInsight here with part 11 of my Total War Warhammer 3 modded Kairos Fateweaver Old World campaign. So as we saw last time, Jiaoming and the western provinces have been destroyed, and other than the Darklands bandits, who we would probably never ever reach in this particular campaign, that is the last and only Cathan faction we are ever likely to come in contact with. I don't remember, are the Burning Wind Nomads on this map? I guess it doesn't really matter because they'd probably get wiped out by Mr. Drajueth the Ashen, even if they are. Anyway, in terms of what we're going to do this time around, we do have Thorex sitting around with 3 probably full stacks here, all told, and Kairos with his little, I don't know, ducklings, that's for the armies that are following him around, are going to jump on in and kill these guys, get Kairos, I guess, the defeat trait for Thoric, and then hunt him down again for Arel or whoever else needs it before we teleport elsewhere. And the vote continues as to where we go next, whether it be the Realm of Khorne or the Realm of the Realm of Man, the Empire, / Bretonia. And at the current time, it is 45% to 55% in favor of teleporting to the Empire and leaving some other lord to conquer the Realm of Khorne. We will see if we do that this particular episode. But for now, Kairos, you are going to, I guess, just move on in. You are currently at war with the Soiree of Sorcery, who unfortunately all of our vassals hate, so we're not going to attack, we're not going to ask to join the war, even if it is probably for a decent amount. Well, actually, you know what? I want to check how much money they're willing to offer. Join war against their Ironbrow's expedition. 2,000 gold. It is a decent bit of gold, damn it. Alright, fine, we'll take the gold. Alrighty, and yes, I'm aware we can confederate those guys, but I'm not so sure that there's too much benefit in doing so. Anyway, Kairos, you are able to move on in, so we'll go directly towards Boulder Club's camp, and these armies will have to try, well, be destroyed and maybe chased down as they try to run away. Plus, oh wow, it's close victory with only Kairos' army, which is, what, 3/4 of an army, without even considering the others. I don't think we need to move Dregra in fact, rather than competing for territory, since we can't borrow her again, I think we'll move Dregra out. We might be moving her back in if we get enough points later on, but we don't right now, so we're not, gonna. You, Rel, and Mr. Cold, you guys are all going to move into Reinforce. And, well, I guess everybody's gonna move into Reinforce, not that we really need everybody here. Not that there's a lot of everybody running around. Okay. I need to move this like this, or else I can't see what the heck is going on. Everybody wants to leech XP. Anybody? Anyway, that's the word. Alrighty, and you move on in. I'm gonna hope that you're in range, but either way, I don't imagine that the enemy will be able to attack us in reprisal. We're not gonna bother with levels, because Kairos is here, and, well, he'll make up for any differences, because he's obnoxiously strong. Anyway, Boulder Club's camp, there we go. Pyrrhic victory this time. Still a difficult fight by the looks of it, or at the very least, that's what the auto-resolve says, due to the sheer amount of enemies. Let's find out. Alrighty, here we go. Big old Thoric armies, a pile of 3 essentially dwarf stacks. And would you look at that, the grudge throwers are attempting to hit Kairos. Unlike in the Thorgrim campaign where we were using the Goblobber to snipe things across the map, the enemy can't do that sort of thing. No Rune of Seeking and no power-ups on this grudge thrower of theirs, and besides, we can cast a nice Gehenna's Golden Hounds on top of them, bringing down 2 of the catapults, heavily damaging the crew, all while beginning our magical assault on the dwarfs. Now, just out of curiosity, we have a number of characters here who reduce the spell resistance of the dwarfs. So their base spell resistance, unless I'm mistaken, is 40, and we get them down to 16 via our abilities, which means Dragons, well, they're not going to be super resistant of what we're doing here. As we can clearly see, as the Gehenna's Golden Hounds work their way through the enemy lines, the blue fires, the pink fires, etc., etc. We gotta have Kairos do something after all, as the rest of our army is rather slow on the approach, and we do have to wait for our reinforcements to arrive, which, frankly, are arriving all the way on the other side of the battlefield, so might as well do something here. And we're doing quite well. Kairos has knocked out 3 enemy units so far and has taken effectively no damage. The plinking away by the Quarrelers and the Thunderers doing little to, well, achieving, let's say, not so much, simply because our barrier goes up rather quickly again. We really need that one last pink Quarreler to see whether 100% barrier delay reduction will mean that it instantly goes back up. I'm very curious about this. Though Kairos' barrier admittedly already goes up extremely quickly. Recharge delay 2 seconds. Oh, and it even says, we'll see if that says 0 seconds after we have 100% reduction, or whether we need a 4th horror for whatever reason. Because what if it says like 0.5 seconds, unless there's like a base minimum. Still, 2 seconds is really short. Alright, and here comes the first of the enemy army. Poor little dwarf warriors get obliterated by the flamers, and we've allowed some units to close the distance with us. And gotta have the dwarf warriors face off against the chaos warriors of Tzeentch after all, rather than just killing them all with Kairos, which we absolutely could have done here, considering the dwarf army is extremely slow. Ooh, nice hit from the blue scribes from up above. They don't have a lot of ammunition, but they do hit reasonably hard, and as soon as we have a few points to spare, we'll be able to make them hit all the harder. Yeah, providing that nice little bit of support. Anyway, Chaos Warriors of Tzeentch versus Dwarf Warriors with Great Weapons. Probably not gonna so well for the latter, not gonna go so well for the latter, though admittedly, while under Kairos, our own units are unbuffed, as in this is not the army that superpowers them, that's Rel's army. And oh, I gotta remember to delete Rel, or reset Rel, so that we can bring him back once we teleport to wherever the votes say we're going to teleport to. Right now it's looking like Bretonia and the Empire. I just gotta meet our armies together to swap units and then get the heck out of here. And of course build the thing in the cult, I gotta remember to do that. Anyway, looks like the first enemy army is pretty much destroyed here. The Thane, the Dragon Slayer, and the last of the enemy dwarf warriors with great weapons pretty much out. Of course, that wasn't the real army, that was just a tiny little garrison, and Thorek is bringing the real throng to stand against us. We'll see how well that goes for him. Kairos, though perhaps not super effective in melee, has actually landed and decided to go after this Demon Slayer here. Good at slaying demons, are ya? We'll see about that. Frankly, I don't think... actually, even at 2 seconds, the barrier replenishment delay is probably very good for duels, allowing Kairos to fight in melee when he wants, most likely, because most lords might take longer than 2 seconds to take a swing, and thus our barrier will always be coming up. Their attack rate isn't fast enough, so certainly something to consider. Anyway, the Demon Slayer is just about out of the picture. Looks like the rest of his army has at this point been destroyed, though looks like Thorek's reinforcements are nearly here. Fun as it was to sort of duel the enemy lord while taking no damage, it's time to move Kairos in and cast a few things. Now the Gehenna's Golden Hounds, 8 pink fires through the lines of the enemies. Of course, no matter how many spells we cast here right now, we probably won't do sufficient damage to clear them out, and the rest of our army will have to start the fight. Blue Scribe's going to cast a couple of spells as well. They're going to get a Lash of Slaanesh as well as a Wall of Wind and Fire, while Kairos does the pink fires and the Infernal Gateway. And at the very least, Thorek's army is going to be in bad shape by the time it gets to us. But I mean, it wouldn't be very Tzeentchian of us not to use magics, especially not to show our magical superiority against the dwarfs. Dwarfs not using magics at all is probably them not powering Tzeentch up, which he'd probably take something of offense at. Plus, I'm willing to bet dwarfs are not super fond of lying and stuff, and I remember there were like... I don't remember if it was in 40k, but I remember Tzeentch likes to punish his Lords of Change if they ever tell the whole truth of something, and I think... I vaguely recall reading him, like, revealing the true name of one of his... I think it was a Lord of Change for telling him the truth about something, just because he found it so insulting. As in revealing the name of the Lord of Change to all the other Tzeentch demons, which promptly, you know, the Lord of Change had bad time. It might have been another Tzeentch demon, but I'm pretty sure, specifically Kairos, are really not fond of the whole truth-telling thing. And I like that that's what he gets really petty and insulted about. How dare you try to tell the truth to me? Anyway, out here in the center of the line, we have Thorek dueling a cold Hellbrast, though despite the fact that Thorek is taking hits from our range shots, Cold is not having a particularly good time here. Sundered Armor brings him down to 72 melee defense, or 72 armor, and melee defense is down to 48 as he drops to 30% of his HP, and we're gonna have to back him off. Well done to Thorek, but Thorek has always been quite difficult to deal with in melee. Oh, that's unsurprising, especially in the early game. Was that a Master Rune of Flight? Oh, did he hit Cold with that? Does a decent bit of additional damage to him. Good job. Of course, the thing about Cold is that he can back off and we can just heal him up to full rather quickly. And while he and Thorek may have beaten him back a little bit, the rest of the army is not having a great time. We have pretty solid positioning up on this hill, forcing the dwarves to climb towards us, all under blue and pink fires from our units of blue and pink horrors. I think that was a Cladvercat coming down on some of the Tzeentch Chaos Warriors as well. Ooh, and Thorek has damaged these guys pretty well as well. Good job, Thorek. All right, getting a little bit of a chance to shine. Almost getting more of a chance to shine here than in Thorgrim's campaign, because his range units are doing a lot of work in that one. Granted, he's fought in melee a few times, but perhaps not to this degree. Alrighty, a few more bonks from his rune hammer. We'll see a few more of our Chaos Warriors destroyed, but otherwise the enemy army is pretty much done for as well. These units are all fleeing from the initial magical onslaught of Kairos, and we're sending in all of our fast movers, our furies and whatnot, simply to chase them down. These guys were the ones that were still fighting, and it looks like they are pretty much on the way out as well. The bounce power shifts to about 95-98% in our favor, and only the Iron Breakers still stand, and even they will break at the end. Lovely. There we go. And with that, the battle is fully ours. We're going to try to give chase to the Ironbreakers as best we can. How fast do they move here? 33 speed versus 28 speed. Oh no. The dwarfs are faster than Chaos Warriors. Huh, that's kind of interesting. Was not expecting that, I gotta say. It's because they're exhausted, I guess. Are the Ironbreakers vigorous? No speed reduction. Oh, they don't have vigorous trait on them, but they are fresh. Interesting. Huh. And just out of curiosity, they were fighting and, you know, dying this entire time. What made them not lose any vigor? I wonder. Discipline, maybe it was Thorek's presence, maybe he has an aura that gives the... Oh, right, one of the rune auras is... not Rune of... Is it Rune of Hearth and Home that does that? I think it's Rune of Hearth and Home. Yeah, anybody near a runesmith or presumably near Thorek as well doesn't take vigor losses, so that explains that. Anyway, we will chase down as much as we can, but we will let Thorek live so that we can kill him again and get his lovely old Grumpslayer defeat trait again. Alrighty, there we go. For all the magic resistance of the dwarfs, Kairos is still just too obnoxious of a caster. 1,361 kills, 215,000 damage. Sure, not the kind of numbers that that Feodien got in the Imrik campaign, but you gotta work pretty hard to match Feodien. Anyway, looks like we are pretty good. Thorek did fairly fairly well, though. He beat a Cold Hellbrass in a duel, dished out 30,000 damage, killed a bunch of Chaos Warriors of Tzeentch, and I think by far did the most damage compared to the rest of his army. And yeah, just looking at the kills, he did significantly more kills, or got significantly more kills than the rest of his army combined. I did see the Ironbreakers chucking those blasting charges. They didn't get any kills, but they did hurt a lord that we might have healed up afterwards, so good for them, sort of. Probably shouldn't have allowed them to escape, but it's probably not going to matter over much anyway. Anyway, well done, Kairos and Co. We will occupy the place with you. Thorek was allowed to live on purpose so that he could move away and we could get his defeat trait again, mostly because we don't actually care about his defeat trait that much on Kairos. The magic item drop chance is nice, but the melee damage or the armor piercing weapon damage +3 is kind of meh. Frankly, it would be really nice on pretty much every lord here. But I don't think we're going to have time to farm him repeatedly. Yeah, another Tzeentch Zealot. That's nice. That's real nice. Helmet von Rakov. Whoa, no Chaos Chariot. Ew. Chaos Steed for you, sir. And anything else? Chaos Steed, and we're good. All right. Let's immediately give that Tzeentch Zealot to you, or one of your heroes. Farmward. And, oh. I guess you need more heroes to carry more Tzeentch Zealots. Granted, we don't have a lot of them. Oh, now I have to remember who has what. Malefics? Yes, okay, Malefics. That's the one we take that Zealot from. Like so. Alright, that's a minus 80% budget, which is still not enough, but it is what it is. Anyway, Kairos, back to you. Let's see if there's anything else that we need to do around here before we head off. These guys obviously can't really move, and I assume... Oh. Actually, we'll want to leave this particular location because if these guys besiege us, just so that they don't kill off any of the weakies here. And it looks like nobody can go into channeling stance, unfortunately. We don't really want to spend time with Kairos in these mountains, just because it takes a long time to sort of jump around, and that's why we need to get these armies on the way, and that's why they are on the way. So, just gotta wait for them to approach. Two little bits of housekeeping, though. Bit of bad news, unfortunately, in terms of engagement, this campaign is doing pretty poorly, especially if we take a look at Thorgrim's campaign, which is doing better on episode 30 than this one is on episode 10, and that's with Thorgrim having gotten a lot of longer episodes as well. Anyway, what that means is that we're going to have to start looking towards moving towards the end of this campaign. Probably means we have to try to acquire short victory soonish, and that means going after the Daughters of the Forest. I was originally going to send the Beastmen army up to either to despoil the Empire or to attack the Wood Elves, but I guess Stanke will also serve for attacking the Daughters of the Forest here. They have forest themes. They've got those things in the woods and the hags and whatnot, so we'll send the Beastmen against them. They are still a fair bit distant from us, but we are going to still move towards them, hopefully relatively soon. The other bit of news, I guess, is that for those who missed it, we are currently doing the vote for the next campaigns, and if you're interested in a particular faction, I guess, do make your voices heard. It's in the link is up in the posts tab of the channel. At the current time, we have Greenskins, Empire, and Dark Elves, which are kind of neck and neck in the race, and a few votes could change it one way or the other. The top two will get their campaign, so a third will not be getting it at the time. And of course, we are also doing the DLC campaigns, just we don't know when the DLC is going to be out, so might as well vote for another one now. Anyway, in the meantime, Vizier Fate plays. I guess we could either raid or we could attack the rats here. I mean, we were always going to attack the rats, and I think it'll still be fun to do so, mostly because this army has not yet fought rats, so why not? You are currently at war with Worshippers of the Worm and Knights of Origo. Worshippers of the Worm, how does Nakari feel about you? Doesn't care. Alright, we will join your war against Clan Scully. For nothing? Okay, I guess we'll do it for nothing. Fair enough. And then we will use the... Where are you here? Scriveners of Insanity. Ooh, I just had another idea. Scriveners of Insanity on Vizier Fate Blaze, like so. Lovely, just to get it on cooldown, because you can't be besieging and you have to be in enemy territory, and it's a very specific thing. What we also do have is Halt Army. We could prevent Mr. Thorek from escaping by halting him and then guaranteeing the defeat trade. Granted, not on 2 armies, but, well, we really want the additional armor-piercing weapon damage on the Forsaken and the Chaos, or the Forsaken, the Chaos Warriors and the Chaos Knights. So, we will hunt Thorek in his tracks right here. And there we go. Now we can't run, and we get the guaranteed defeat rate. Ooh, also, since the Chaos Warriors are going to be splitting off soon, maybe we can name a few more. The Crystal Guard will be joined by, let's name these guys to start. Where's my list of Chaos Warriors? Echold's Auxiliaries. Like so, and you can be, actually got a little bit of XP. And you can be Raven Guard. And I get, right, we also have the Chaos Warriors with Tzeentch with halberds. Some of them are going to become chosen, probably not all of them, however. Okay, you are going to be Word Bearers of, this is probably not going to fit. Qianchi, it did fit. Ha, alright. I'm impressed. Alright, Word Bearers of Qianchi, I could also just name them like the various different names of Tzeentch, right? Word Bearers of Qianchi, Word Bearers of Zenith, Word Bearers of Char, Word Bearers of Chen. There's probably other names that don't come to mind right now, but Tzeentch has a lot of names, like all the Chaos Gods. Anyway, certainly an option. Anyway, for now, let's fight some rats, because we haven't done so this campaign, and it should be pretty fun. Go. Alright, close defeat casualties high. The rats are probably going to be a solid counter to this particular army due to their numbers, so and the fact that they're fast, so the running and gunning might be a little bit less effective. Let's see how it does. Go.
They say we are mad, but it is merely the absence of sanity.
Alrighty, here we go. Our jolly iridescent horrors move forward as they do, but once again, the game has conspired to screw this army over as the reinforcing Skaven are arriving behind our army, and we're not going to be able to run and gun in this way either. So we're just going to have to try to get around the first army before we start attacking with the pink horrors. I think we might have been able to advance and maybe dish out enough damage with the horrors towards this army before the second army arrived, but probably would have been able to kill only about half of them or something like that. Especially since fighting Skaven is a very high likelihood of our pink horrors not being able to fire off a single shot without being babysat because of the firing bug, which remains quite annoying. We saw it against the undead when the undead were very, very numerous, but obviously Skaven have much higher numbers in their in groups, so they probably wouldn't need nearly as many units on field to prevent the horrors from doing anything. Anyway, looks like we've gotten the enemy artillery piece out of here, which was the plan, and we're just going to hover over the enemy army, just manually attacking the warlord. Probably not going to do too much damage in this way, especially if all 4 shots miss, but anyway, that's alright. Just keep hovering overhead and dropping spells on the enemy, occasionally using those forbidden rods and whatnot. Man, yeah, these guys do no damn. Man, they have 625 missile strength. They're doing absolutely nothing to this one warlord with 4 of them. And that's 4 of them with the Locus of Change buffed up as well. They do have bonus versus large on them, so maybe we next time try this on a bigger unit. I'm just surprised that 4 of them attacking one guy like this is doing so little. But maybe I shouldn't be, because missile lords and heroes have always been pretty terrible, and admittedly, that's not what these guys are here for. They're here to annoy the enemy with spell work, which they very much are. And speaking of spell work, time for our Cataclysm. We're not waiting for the other army to arrive, and we're going to activate this right in the middle of the biggest blob of Skaven that we can find. Probably gonna do a fair bit. There we go. Big ol' Spirit Leech, bony hands come out of the ground and decimate the the ratlings there. Huh, I wonder if the warlord took damage from that or the blue fires. Anyway, some of the enemy units are going to charge towards us. We're going to quickly countercharge them with our cultist. I'm going to pop that explosion, and then I think it's a passive as well, and then just back off rather than stay around. Does look like some of the rats will manage to reach us over on our left flank, so we will have to be careful. But there's no sense, no point, no way to run and gun here with this particular army, because the rats actually move faster than we do. 42 move speed versus 46 move speed, so what can you do? All we can do is continue to back off a little bit, reposition, and then keep dropping various spells on the enemy, countering enemy charges with our cultist and his Rock of Inevitability, which slows the enemy down by 25% as well. Although it looks like this time around, unlike that time where we were able to break out of the enemy formation because of the passive explosion, the cultist does get stuck here. He shouldn't be super threatened by these guys, but we're still going to try to get him out with a spell, and, well, actually, he did take a little bit of damage. I'm gonna back him off. Ooh, does look like some clan rats and even some plague monks are rushing towards our lines. We're gonna have to be careful with that, as the plague monks will make short work of those pink horrors. And there we go. At least one unit has arrived, not at full HP, of course, but, well, we don't really have the melee fighting capabilities in this army that we normally might. As in the Blue Scribe's army, where we'll have a significant amount of extra armor and extra melee defense on the various horrors. And they'll actually be able to hold the line. This one isn't designed for that, but I guess then fighting the Skaven wasn't such a good idea in this regard. Huh. Maybe we should... What's the best way to do this? Maybe we should take this location, assuming that we win this fight after the reinforcements are here, and then trade it to the Worshippers of the Worm in order to vassalize them. Just get another Slaaneshi vassal, since it seems that all of our Norscan allies seem to get really annoyed when we fight the Slaaneshi for whatever reason. Go figure. And besides, we're doing plenty of Slaaneshi fighting, and for the same reason that we decided not to go after Nakari, we might want to just forego going after the Followers of the Worm, Worshippers of the Worm, whatever, and just go after the Tomb Kings and Kugath and whatever else is down here. I guess Manfred as well. Although, or we could leave Manfred alone because we've already fought the vampire counts with these guys. You know, gotta fight different things, so I do love fighting undead. Anyway, the rats continue to make their way towards us while I yammer on, but of course we've been dropping spells on them pretty much non-stop with our 4 units. Those 4 forbidden rods are really helping out in that we run out of mana, but then we can just charge it right back up. The bug is unfortunately active, so you may be noticing that there isn't a lot of fire coming in from these units. Like, you'll see they'll stop. The reason for this is that when the bug happens, you can babysit the units and directly order them to fire on a specific unit, and they will sometimes do it and sometimes won't, but they won't fire themselves, so you constantly have to reorder them over and over and over again. It is a bit of a hassle, but on the other hand, it has allowed the enemy army to reach our lines, which makes these guys prone to actually, you know, fight in melee a little bit. And thus have to be a little bit careful. You've seen we've lost about 30% of the HP on this unit of Pink Horrors. And they're just going to have to do their best to hold the enemy off, and in fact have taken enough damage to now be forced away. And while, granted, this army was originally designed to destroy enemy at range before they ever reached us in combat, hence the whole run and gun concept, it is fun to see them fight in melee for now. Once the other army takes that sort of a dynamic from them, then this army will hopefully not need to anymore, and will hopefully be fighting enemies that it can actually, you know, run and gun against, rather than ones that it can't for whatever reason. Anyway, with that, the enemy army breaks. We've taken a little bit of damage on various units that have that were forced into melee, but at the end of the day, not so bad. Most of the enemies, well, actually, the garrison will be destroyed, but I'm willing to bet that the second army, a lot of them did escape, but that's fighting rats for you, hardly surprising. Alright, there we go. The non-fire bug is still being quite annoying, but at the end of the day, it does make battles feel a little bit more desperate, and in that sense, it's actually really fun. I guess we could just disable the range attacks on the pink horrors, but this is a run-and-gun army, and the game is conspiring to not let us run and gun. What can you do? We'll take a Wadi Al-Matil, and I believe we can evolve some of the pink horrors to exalted pink horrors. Now, let's see. They should have gotten some XP from that. Yes, we got 1, 2 evolutions. You guys become exalted. Lovely. Army's getting a little bit stronger. Still only at 50 speed though, still a little bit too slow because the rats are still faster. So yeah, that's still a problem. We will get more speed as these guys get higher ranks, I think. Wait. Oh. Rank 7 and above, we get 10% speed, plus, unless I'm mistaken, we get more speed out of this, so horrific advancement. So we will get a 20% speed increase out of that eventually. And then finally, they'll be faster than the rats, at least I hope. I wonder if there's any more speed upgrades anywhere in the text. We are getting greater locus of change, which will help the army out by giving arcane mirth to everybody in this army when they're, you know, out of melee, which is the goal for a run-and-gun army, but we'll see. Otherwise, I guess we're stuck here. We are just going to hope that these guys don't besiege us up. We're also losing mana, but what can you do? Oh, we got a little horror building here. You know what? Don't collect the income here yet, and temporarily build a couple of blue horrors. They're going to get replaced, but we can't get what we're replacing them with yet, and it's too expensive to... Wow. 10,000 gold to get the Great Chaos Dragon. But anyway, since we can't get that, we'll just deal with it as it is. Anyway, Manchaka, you are still recruiting, or at least the guy that's standing beside you is. Arvax, Balefire, and Drulas, you can't move until you have another army to help out with this, because, yeah, you can't take 5 or 6 armies at once, not with this army. It's too untested, and it's not buffed up, and we can't leave because then this place will get attacked, so we're kind of in a deadlock until we have another army over here. Mahikal Rock is fine, and I guess I forgot far more to Woemaker. I see at the top? Yeah, how did I miss you? You're pretty critical to what's been going on here. Anyway, you are going to leave the settlement, you are going to go into encamp, and you are going to proceed down here, I guess. Decent likelihood we get attacked, but for now it's fine. Neither of these places are collecting money, though you could, but it's not much money even if you do collect it. And I believe that's it for what we've got to do this turn, unless I'm mistaken. So I guess we'll end the turn. Skip. Cult upgrade, no. And then turn. Alright, no attack. We got one little mini underway interception between the turns, and more importantly, we got a free 15,000 gold as the some Slaneshi faction that we were at war with decided to ask for peace, and I was perfectly happy to do that for a significant chunk of change. Otherwise, Thorak, you got that good defeat rate, so Aurel, you will be grabbing that, and I guess everybody else can still leech XP here. Why not? Alright, you go here. I mean, it's probably not going to be much in the way of XP, but, well, we got a demon to ascend, we got a blue scribes to level, and, oh, okay, we might not actually be able to get here to leech the XP if everybody's in each other's way, we'll see. Rel, this is for you, bud. And like so, I'm just going to assume that nobody will die here. Yeah, we're okay. And there we go, doubling up on the Thorak defeat rate. If you're wondering why I didn't bother getting it in the Blue Scribes army, it's simply because, well, the Blue Scribes will stay here when Kairos and Aecold teleport elsewhere, so there's no need. Ooh, another Chromatic Tome, though. Very nice find. Disc of Tzeentch for Karen Manticool, sure, and there's that defeated Thorak Ironbrow. Also, the enemy miscast chance will stack with all the miscast chances that we have on offer. Anyway, we'll probably want to move in such a way... Okay, Drugger, you can move away. We'll probably want to move in such a way where we will... Huh. Did you guys really just cowered out of this? Why? Why are you being useless? I wish I could borrow this main stack. I guess we could tell you to go occupy that. It's not like we're looking to get it for ourselves. Anyway, we want to move in such a way where these guys will be as fast on the approach to the rest of our armies as they can, because once they trade their heroes and some units, that's when we teleport, which is probably going to be next episode, by the looks of it. And speaking of next episode, I guess with that, folks, we are pretty much out of time, and I'm going to call the episode here, as there was no other battle to be had between the turns. Next time, it looks like Veritas Painbringer will complete the recruitment of the various cockatrices that we're building for various armies, including this one and the flying army. We will continue the assault on the realm of the Dark Prince, and let's see. They're still too cowardly to move towards us. They got even more armies. Okay, well, they'll probably hit us with another, like, 4 armies, and ooh, I just thought of something. Oh, we can't do it right now, can we? Alright, after we take this location, we'll probably be able to evolve our first Chaos Spawn into a Mutilate Vortex Beast. In fact, we'll do it next episode. If you're wondering why we can't do it right now, it's because they lose all their HP and get 1 HP because of the way that the Warband upgrade works, so you can't do that outside of friendly territory, or else that's a good way to evolve a unit and then instantly lose it. Anyway, we will continue next time, and oh man, there's a lot more Slaaneshi armies down here as well. Man, Farmort Woemaker certainly has his work cut out for him. Also, somebody suggested that we keep the last of the last of the Marauders around and evolve them into a Chosen as the one unit that sort of passed the Trial of the Gods there, and I like that idea. We will, we can do that. We'll do a Chosen there. Anyway, stay tuned for more rat killing, dwarf killing, Slaanesh killing, whatever killing, etc. Locus of whatever. All glory to the algorithm, and thanks for watching.